Does the Class 1 inventory UDI exception start from the enforcement date of September 24th, 2022 and continue 3 years until September 24th, 2025?
All right, I'll take a quick stab at this one. The confusion continues. So UDI is a new topic, and when I have to submit, when I have to comply, and this has caused a lot of confusion because there was a UDI inventory exception if you had products that sat in your inventory warehouse already finished and did not have UDI on them. The UDI rule allowed you to, for the next 3 years, continue to ship that product without UDI on the label. And that was in effect for the Class 3s and then the Class 2s, and it was also in effect for the Class 1s. Now, the information and the timing of that is very critical. So unfortunately, we have to watch and parse the words from the FDA very closely here. That clause that allowed this 3-year exception or for inventory was based and triggered around what the FDA calls the compliance date. And the compliance date was set and established inside the regulations. So the Class 1 UDI compliance date was set to be 2018, September 24th. And 3 years later would be September 24th, 2021. So that's now in the past. And that has already occurred. I put together a little graph just to see this visually on a timeline. So if we look on the left-hand side here, this is the original compliance date for Class 1s, and then the 3 years later. So all during that time, the FDA had planned that you would be able to, deplete your inventory from the warehouse without UDI. Well, a couple things happened. One is this original compliance date came, and just prior to the September 24th deadline, there was an extension put in place, and they referred the new enforcement date to be in 2020, September 24th. And there was some issues about the quality. They wanted to make sure things were ready and approved at the FDA database. And then guess what happened in 2020? The COVID epidemic hit, and now the FDA extended that enforcement date out to be September 2022. So what happened in the background is this inventory exception timing did not change, even though the enforcement date kept being pushed out, and now is currently, September 24th. So this inventory exception is now null and void. It's already passed. It's in the past, where if you had products in inventory without UDI, you could still ship them, and actually up to the day before the enforcement date of 9/23, all your products, whether they were in inventory or not, just recently made and manufactured, all those could be shipped without UDI because the enforcement date has moved. Remember, the compliance date has not changed. So unfortunately, this 3-year inventory exception does not apply anymore. And I just also want to make it clear that the enforcement date that we were referring to here, September 24th, is for UDI being placed on the label and on packages. If direct marking applies, it would also apply to that. And the documentation in your SOPs and policy documents need to be in place by November or September 24th. There is one provision for the actual good ID that was extended. So the enforcement date for the Class 1 submissions into the good ID is now December 8th, and that's only like 35 days away, so right around the corner. But I just want to be clear, any products that you ship and place in commercial distribution after September 24th, a couple of weeks ago, we'll have to have UDI on that label. And then come December of this year, now 35 days, you'll also have to have those device records placed into the Good ID. So, time's a wasting. Don't procrastinate, and we'll talk a little bit more about how we can help you. But that's, I think, the real quick answer to the first one.